Hi, Timmy.
You having a nice laugh, are you?
I mean, it's Christmas. It's Christmas morning.
Hey!
I love the way it makes me feel inside.
What's up, everyone? Adam from FWCI. This is Mr. McMahon, episode 5, Family Business. I want to get into more stuff that I haven't seen, because that last episode, with the exception of some of the Owen stuff, the last episode, I think is the one I'm talking about, it didn't really hit much. It didn't really hit much new stuff. It was more just a documentary about wrestling. It wasn't really about Vince specifically. So let's keep going with it. If you do want to support the channel further, go to patreon.com/FWCI or just subscribe here on YouTube. Since this is a wrestling audience, you may recognize my channel name from Botchamania. I've sent in a whole bunch of Botchamania endings over the years that have been used by Matthew, and what I might do is just at the end of the last episode of this, I might just put a whole bunch of Botchamania memes in there for you guys to enjoy, because it's something I do just for casual fun, and it's always a thrill when I see my name pop up at the end of that Botchamania thing. But let's jump into it. This is Mr. McMahon, episode 5, Family Business.
Rebelling against the first miserable 12 years of his life.
Yeah.
That abuse has been his life pursuit in creating an atmosphere in which he is untouchable and invulnerable to outside forces and in control of his own destiny.
Yo, that's that's pretty full on the way Heyman just put all that. Like, again, there have been a lot of things insinuated about McMahon's childhood, very unpleasant things, and it's interesting that Heyman's take on that is he hated his life as a kid so much that he's dedicated his adult life to never letting anybody have any kind of say over anything that he does, which that's born from a place of desperation, and then it manifests into a thing of despicable behavior.
We only know from Vince McMahon. Years ago, he did a Playboy interview.
Okay, here we go. He's going to mention it.
That he implied was at the hands of his mother.
Oh, that's what the implication was.
I know from a psychological standpoint, when you're abused as a kid, the tendency is for you to abuse. I think sometimes that's just a cop-out.
Okay, it's correct except in your situation. Is that right, Vince?
Throw it the fuck back there and go forward.
That's called denial, everybody.
I started at a very early age. You know, I would sweep the ring. I would take the guys' jackets back.
Yeah, I mean, you can't really deny that. Shane McMahon, that's right, he was a ref as well. He definitely seemed to have a genuine interest in it.
Love it. Getting the ability to go do something I've always wanted to do since I was very little.
Yeah, fair enough. But then, stop. When it gets to the point where you're declaring yourself the best wrestler in the world and you're winning friggin' trophies in Saudi Arabia, stop.
Some people would love me just because of who my father was, and some people would not give me the time of day because of who my father was.
Vince McMahon, flanked there by his young daughter, Stephanie.
Oh, yeah, that must have been a very weird dynamic to experience the world in those years.
Just relax, no pressure. Everything will be good.
You gonna take it easy on me?
Oh, without a doubt.
Oh, God, why are we having that conversation with Jerry Lawler? And what the fuck was that painting in the background?
So I come up with an idea and present it to Vince.
You should take a look at this.
Yeah, this is some Days of Our Lives shit. Even Days of Our Lives probably wouldn't go, like, this far.
But how many times?
Consummate the marriage!
Yeah, doesn't age well. That whole segment doesn't age well, but the ridiculousness of it just makes it funny.
And Vince, as they're going crazy for her, he looks at me and he goes, meaning like this is the money.
I totally look back on some of the stuff I did and I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe I did that.
Yeah. We all look back at our childhood and teenage years and say that.
You're gonna let your daughter date a wrestler? Shane, that's who I am. I'm wrestling, I'm performing. I don't know what you mean by that.
I don't know what you mean by that, Vince. What the fuck?
as we're looking for locations for the wedding at one point in time, he seriously suggests to us holding it on pay-per-view.
Oh, God.
Steph says absolutely not. He's like selfish, and like, I can't believe you're selfish.
Yeah, fucking, what an asshole.
Vince versus Steph, and I believe a street fight.
I quit match, I'm pretty sure.
Before our legitimate wedding.
No, it was a street fight.
I remember my mom actually threatening my dad that if...
I've been waiting to hear about this, what the hell?
Needless to say, I had no black eye. I had no broken ankle. I may have gotten choked out in the match, but that's a little bit different.
Yeah, just craziness. Full-on craziness.
What the hell kind of family did I marry into?
Oh man, truer words were never spoken. I guess that's all they're gonna say about it, but think about that for a second. Your daughter is getting married, and she works for you in this situation where you can use your influence to have a physical wrestling match weeks before her actual real-life wedding that, oh, I don't know, probably means a lot. It's probably like a life-changing experience, and I don't know, it just, I cannot get over how selfish and shitty of a thing that would be to do to anyone, let alone your own child. There's some absolute maniacal level of ego that comes with what that is. And at the end of the day, I don't think the people even really knew that the wedding was happening. I don't remember hearing about it until like years later. Pretty sure they kept it quite low-key. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong about that, but it's not like it played into the storyline that she was getting married to Triple H a couple of weeks away in real life. It's just a incredibly sleazy power display for one person to put onto his own family. And I just think that's the kind of horrendous behavior that Vince seems to not realize he does.
Kids ended up being very, very popular performers, super popular.
Yeah, they got over. That's right.
So my mom introduced me to Linda, my wife. I think I was 16.
I don't think you guys are still married at this point.
And I promised her I'd always love her. And I promised her that there'd never be a dull moment. I've definitely lived up to that promise.
Yeah, okay.
Oh my God!
Of the four of us, I'm probably the least comfortable in front of the camera.
Yeah, we know. We all know. Oh, no! Shit. Yeah, let's talk to Linda about this storyline.
Knowing I was about to work with the boss and, you know, with Mr. McMahon was a huge opportunity. I was super excited about it.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, there you go. There's a nice freeze frame for you all. Yeah, so these little clips that they're splicing in here of, like, McMahon with his hands on her all the time, and she's got her hands on him, is kind of, and I guess wrestling storytelling is a bit tacky just by definition because it's very prime colors kind of thing, but it just feels like it's cringy more so than enraging. I don't think it draws money that Vince McMahon is groping and being groped by Trish Stratus on TV. That's where it feels like it is an abuse of power, and it's him just getting his jollies with this roster of women that he can just script to do whatever. And he did for years and years and years. This is 2000. He was still doing it in like 2010, I think. Actually, they were trying to really tighten their fucking reins around then. But there was a solid like 6 or 7 years more of this.
Was to show what a despicable heel I was. I mean, you can't get any more despicable.
Yeah, okay. If you say so, Vince.
And that came from Linda. Like, she's like, oh, it would irk so many people if you would just like lean over and kiss me on the head.
Fucking hell.
Is evoke emotion, whether it's anger, whether it's happiness.
And that's fine, and that's storytelling. That is totally fine. You don't have to be groping Trish Stratus to get that point across, though.
Trish was a character, so as I recall, I don't think anyone had a problem with it.
I didn't quite like that one.
Shane said he was a little bit...
Okay. Shane is a bit more conservative than the rest of us.
Oh my God, alright, Vince.
Wait a minute, is you getting too close to real now? I'm thinking This is a storyline, it's characters, entertaining the audience. Just go with it.
Yeah, that feels weirdly protective of Shane, and I think he is very protective of his mother and his sister, and maybe there's reasons for that.
I used to have a female dog, and that bitch did everything I told her to do. Now, damn it, get out!
I mean, this was peak Vince McMahon right here. This was probably the worst of the worst.
That he's getting everybody to know that we're supposed to hate him. He's giving them a titty show.
Oh, you're sorry! You're sorry!
It's a good way to put it.
Guys who fantasized over hot women, but also kind of hated them because they could never get them.
Oh, Jesus.
Women demean was kind of cool to a lot of those guys.
Oh my God, is that really what was going through people's heads? Fucking hell.
And the thing is, when we did that scene, we knew the comeuppance would come at WrestleMania, the grandest stage of all.
Hey, that's a very good point. That was a WrestleMania build. Was that even like the go home show or something like that? And honestly, I don't have a problem with the storyline element of these storylines happening. I have a problem with Vince McMahon being in the position he's in to enjoy the experience on a personal level when it should be business. That's where I really find it creepy. Like, do I think the tyrant boss making an employee bark like a dog, even if it's a female employee, bark like a dog, do I think that that's some unforgivable storyline? No, there's way worse shit in movies and TV shows and stuff like that than get on your knees and bark like a dog. So that's just people blending reality and fantasy of pro wrestling on a television level. And honestly, if it were anybody except Vince McMahon being involved in that segment, it probably wouldn't give everybody the creeps.
I had to stand up for the abuse that was going on with my mom. I just couldn't take it anymore, which would be accurate. When I was younger, my dad and I would wrestle. I went, oh, and then as I peeled back, he grabbed my hair on the back end and then pushed me back. And I was like, you totally cheated. I go, you can't do that. He goes, that's what I do in life. I cheat and I win.
Wow, what a great role model.
Slap me, you can do that. No, I can't. I can slap you.
I was like, well, this may be a little easier than I thought.
Yeah, this is probably the most compelling retelling of this match I've ever seen. And there's been a few.
He's like, do not hold back, and I did not.
Yeah, no, she really let him have it.
His sedated
Oh.
wife, Linda, is here.
See, what a fucking moment that was.
Sable is probably one of the, as far as pure successes in marketing for a short period of time, she's one of the more underrated.
Yeah, she was not around for a long time, and she was a goddamn megastar. Because the world was horny for Pamela Anderson at the time, and that's what we get. I was never a fan.
But she left at the peak of her popularity and sued the company.
And then came back and did a lesbian angle with Tori Wilson, I think it was.
No, I don't. It's kind of a blur, but all I know is she came back to work, so.
Well played, Vince.
Or sue you, sue me. She sued us for sexual harassment.
Well, I guess there are a couple of ways to that.
That's where it ended up with Sable in this storyline.
Back there was a storyline with your character where there was an affair.
Storyline. God.
Wait, Heyman is hanging out there?
We have plausible deniability because it's just wrestling, it's just performance.
Yeah, exactly. That's the get out of jail free card.
And you talked in that one about different affairs.
Why would you say that publicly, though?
It was very straightforward. I wasn't playing a character then.
Why would you answer a question about, so tell us about your adultery?
And did you feel like
that's not an answer there, Vince.
Not who that character is. Oh, sometimes people think it's the same thing, jokingly, but nonetheless.
No, we all mean it, Vince. None of us are joking.
Vince McMahon has had one truly monogamous relationship.
With wrestling?
And that's with the business.
Yeah.
That's his master.
Vince doesn't.
God, look at his posture in that chair. Jesus Christ, as a economic assessor, don't like how he's sitting. No wonder he's hunched.
Wrestling fans went wild at the opening of a new restaurant bar in New York's Times Square.
Yeah, I remember that one. Apparently it was terrible.
And you can look at other things that might be of value.
Welcome, everybody.
Nice cut to WCW.
From a war perspective, you know, the guys fought as hard as they could, but I just don't think you can win a war if you don't have the right, people in the war room making the right decisions.
Yeah. WCW, the demise was fun to watch, but it was unfortunate because it didn't need to be that way.
They were thinking about selling this. Are you interested? The answer is yes.
And in about 3 days, the whole landscape of the business changed.
Oh, really? It was that quick?
Vince bought the company for $2.5 million.
$2.5 million?
The night he purchased WCW, we had a celebration on that.
Yeah, I bet you fucking did.
I remember the plane ride was pure insanity.
That is absolutely shocking that it was only 2.5 mil. I knew it was not much, but damn.
The way we communicated the purchase of WCW to the entire fan base was live on air.
Yeah, that was a hell of a moment. Shane walking out there.
I have acquired WCW.
Yeah, the crowd was happy for it. We were all happy.
It's not like I get this great joy by winning. This is really arrogant to say. I expect to win.
Jam. Yeah, that is arrogant. You fucking arrogant prick.
Something is missing when you don't have that anymore. So, it's a new challenge now. Like starting a football league.
Fans with football.
Oh, God. Do we really need to talk about the XFL? Is He Hate Me going to be on here?
Take the sport and put more a WWE flair and spin on it.
The cheerleader side of it just made this look like an absolute farce.
In my view, this can't fail.
The quality of play was bad.
Valeri and the Hitman offense from their 4 and 5, and they got a piece of it. Not even swatted.
Oh my God.
I thought it was just head-bangingly stupid and crude.
Yeah, I'm with you, Costas. This is a joke.
If there's some wit surrounding it, if there's some element of art or cleverness or high craft surrounding it, then I don't give a fuck. But this had none of that.
He is brutal.
All the NBC executives responsible for creating the XFL will be thrown to their death.
The XFL was a disaster. By the time Vince...
Oh, yeah, let's have a look at this interview.
I thought it was going to go on and talk about the XFL and be friendly. And I was told that's what it was going to be.
Oh, you thought it was going to be a fluff piece, did you, Vince? Nope.
Bob did his job. He did it well. He got me. Just visualizing what would it be if I had my hands wrapped around his skinny little neck.
You know that's psychotic behavior, right, Vince? Just having that as a legitimate thought or thinking it's funny, I don't know.
Smile. This is amusing me.
No, it's amusing you. You're amusing me.
I was angry at myself.
I'm what makes my company and this country go round and round.
Vince is just completely off his game there.
The XFL, it turns out, will be the last.
It got body slammed today by the World Wildlife Fund.
When this lawsuit was filed, we tried to fight it, as we do most lawsuits.
This was over the website, WWF.com.
After XFL was finally officially not coming back, you'd never know it. His focus was, okay, what do you got for Raw? Let's do it.
Yeah, I guess. What else do you do? That is actually good advice.
Icon versus icon.
Great natural build. Great match. Not a great match.
You know, he's caused me, Hogan has a great deal of frustration, and there were times that I wished I could choke him.
Why do you want to choke everybody, Vince?
So naturally, you swallow your pride and eat a nice plate of caca and...
Phrasing.
That crowd was on fire, and we felt it.
Yeah, the crowd did 80% of the work in that match.
The script had to be changed.
The moment we stepped in the ring.
See, I'll take their word for it, but I still don't believe how anyone could go into this match and not realize that Hulk Hogan was going to get cheered. It's his first WrestleMania in like 9 years or whatever. They were going to go through the roof for him. I know Rock is big, but come on.
A higher level of trust now than I ever have. I think there's a certain level of comfort to know that I can't rip the shirt off and put 100,000 people in a building.
Sure thing, Hogan. That's what everybody's thinking. Yeah, I didn't watch much Raw when that was happening because I didn't have it, but I was staying at someone's house who had cable TV, and I was like, oh, can I watch Monday Night Raw? And then Eric Bischoff came out, and I was just like, what the fuck? It's weird to catch a random episode and that be the one.
I don't think my personal feelings have ever gotten in the way of doing good business.
I mean, that's true. I mean, your personal feelings have never stopped you bringing somebody back. Let's be specific about that.
Good double cross.
I'm in business.
Because your personal feelings affect fucking everything, Vince, and business has been absolute dog shit at times.
I'm not happy with the direction Stone Cold Steve Austin's going. I ain't happy with the direction the whole company's going.
Be honest, Steve, how do you really feel?
He was a huge star and he's gone.
It's a very malleable product, the WWE.
Yeah, you lost Austin, you lost Rock.
I would have to say that one quality is...
And he's a ruthless aggression.
Ruthless aggression. Who among you wants to become a superstar?
At that time.
It was like the Paul Heyman hype-up interview in ECW, just not as good.
This was an era that was coming off of pushing the envelope and then transitioning to an era of more realism. They were showcasing guys' ability, guys like Eddie Guerrero, guys like Kurt Angle.
Yeah, you know what? It really was a transitional era, wasn't it?
John Cena, the Doctor of Thugonomics.
Yeah, 2002, mainstream rap was just starting to become a thing, so it really hadn't touched wrestling in that kind of way yet. There was rappers in wrestling, but Cena was a whole different energy and vibe altogether.
I took so many things that I saw and didn't like and crafted them into this character. It's the same thing Vince did with Mr. McMahon.
Yeah, but then you stayed the same character when it turned babyface. Oh, God. Right. Yeah, you know what? Yeah, let's talk about this. And that as well. Shane McMahon stepping to the side in that scene always kills me.
Where I was going to be making out with a female, which I didn't think my character wanted to do. Was it a coincidence that I lost the championship the next week?
I don't think it is. I mean, Mickie James was on the way up. Is that even what she's talking about there, that particular moment? Because that was like months of Mickie James getting to that point. I guess maybe the original plan was for her to retain, but I don't know, Mickie winning makes way more sense.
Do you remember some of the things you said no to?
I'm not going to tell the one.
So,
yeah, I know exactly what this is.
I think I was the one who impregnated her, my character. I think it was something like that. It was like, no, that one didn't make it.
All right, so confirm that actually did happen. That's always been a thing that people have said.
When Shane and Stephanie were pitching ideas, he'd flat out reject them. He'd flat out say they sucked. He wants to hold them to a higher standard.
Yeah, the thing is, telling somebody that their idea sucks, unless you have a very friendly dynamic with them and that's just a part of like how you communicate with each other, that's not professional behavior to say that to somebody in a place of business. And Vince, obviously, he's just like, yeah, just tell him it sucks. Even though I lord everything over everybody in this room, it's just how tone deaf he is. Just, it never fails to surprise me.
I guess it's because I wanted to be better than everybody else. Her last name is McMahon, so step the hell up.
Fucking ego. That ego. Your name's McMahon. Ugh.
I think there's a unique relationship there with fathers and sons.
Yeah, what happened in 2006, I think it was, when Shane just disappeared from the company around the time that I think Stephanie got made. some sort of high up position somewhere, and Triple H was then kind of slotted into like, all right, you're definitely going to be the heir apparent now, and then Shane just disappeared until he returned like 4 years later. It was weird.
So a lot of people don't know the internal dynamics of what goes on in real life.
Do you mind sharing it with us then? Because we all think that it's fucked.
But you don't peel back that curtain all the way, because why would you ever straighten that out? Let people talk about it.
Well, that's what we're doing.
Sometimes he was being embraced, sometimes he was completely invisible. I never understood what was going on, but I always felt he was a little bit of the black sheep of the family.
Yeah, I think you're right about that.
That he was the next generation McMahon promoter before he takes over WWE.
Let's get it on, baby!
Really? That's what it was?
They got into some financial problems and came to us and said, would you like to purchase?
Oh, wow.
When it was presented in terms of buying UFC, I didn't like that business model.
It's your business model, isn't it?
You could create characters, much like Disney or someone else.
Like the sporting business model, okay.
So anyway, he thought about it and passed, and passed on the opportunity.
That is the face of a man who is still not over Vince McMahon passing on UFC. Why didn't you just buy it yourself, Shane? Oh, man, he would be fucking fuming over that. Oh, God. And then years later, UFC bought WWE.
Oh, well,
here we are.
Hindsight's always 20/20. It would have been an excellent investment.
Bet you do.
Didn't work. It wouldn't work, but because it'd take a huge investment. And Shane only had a little bit, so...
Well, give them kids some fucking money. Is that... is that whole moment supposed to enrage me as much as it does? Oh my God, that's why. Hang on, did they say what year that was? Was that around 06? Because I think that would have to be it.
And Vince finally turned to Shane and he said, "Not while I'm alive." And Vince, who was eating something, took his knife and handed it to Shane.
Oh my God.
Then I know you're not man enough to do it. And I have to take that into consideration as well.
Holy shit!
Would have had to get rid of my father when he wasn't doing things my way at all.
Yikes. Yeah, here we go. 2009, was it? Okay, not 06.
Well, the reason why Shane left, Shane wanted to take the chair, so to speak, and thought it was time for me to leave.
And he was right. He was right. Oh my God, wait, this is 2009? Yeah, 010 through to like... Oh man, it improved around like 2016, I guess, but like 010 to like 2015 was just garbage. There was like one good storyline, and it was CM Punk, and even that, you can't even look back on that and go, it was perfect. There was so much frustration. If you go back and watch that storyline week to week, it was so tedious and frustrating, and then there was a big payoff, and then it was tedious and frustrating again. So what did Shane know that we don't, that Vince McMahon was about to start really losing his shit? Because I feel like that was around the time that it started to happen. Linda was running for Senate in 2010. Vince, that's when they started like, we're not going to have any blood. They were stopping matches to like wipe people's blood up and stuff like that. They got really, really PG. It was when they went really hardcore PG for a while, and that's why everybody hated it. So yeah, interesting that that's when this is all happening.
Or it's time to step back. He's my dad. You know, I'm not gonna jeopardize that.
Sure, I'm not gonna jeopardize that. Instead, you have to throw away the thing you've been working your entire life towards. Sure, that's that power dynamic, man.
And when a family member thinks, wait a minute, I've got this, they don't quite have the vision that someone who's grown and created a business.
You are a gigantic hypocrite. It's exactly what you did. It's exactly what you did. The exact same thing. Your dad was successful, Vince. He was doing it. He was doing just fine without your little offer to buy in. And now he is just an absolute piece of work.
They have a different vision, and it may have worked, but you know what? We're gonna go with my vision.
Yeah, that's how it always ends. So everything you said before that doesn't fucking matter.
The future of this company very much hangs in the balance.
This most recent scandal is going to shock everyone.
Yeah, it's a shame we didn't get to speak to Vince about that. Although he would have been an idiot to comment about that. Alright, so we got probably the last of the... there's so much more of it as well, but like the questionable Mr. McMahon segments on this one and Trish Stratus. Again, people said that what happened in that segment was over the line, but it's not. It's only over the line because they're blurring fantasy and reality. It was a storyline character try to humiliate someone, but it does get complicated when you realize that the person playing that character is also the person who writes the checks and writes the script and can put anybody in any position he wants, and that power dynamic, keep it out of your fucking workplace, Vince. Keep it out of your workplace. Because that's what it is. If you're Vince McMahon and you got all this money and you can have any woman you want and you want to be debaucherous and cheat on your wife and do all that kind of stuff, go nuts. It's your life. Nobody should be able to tell you that you can't live your life exactly how you want. But once you're in a professional environment and you're paying people to be there, you have a responsibility to make them feel somewhat safe and comfortable in their workplace. And that's the one thing he just never seemed to do. Again, they very briefly touched on what was going on when he was a kid. Again, not that I want details, but it's unusually vague anytime it gets discussed. The XFL and Bob Costas being on there, absolutely tearing the XFL a new asshole. That was great to see. Because, yeah, Bob Costas has... I like Bob Costas a lot. I don't know if he's got some other weird political side that I've never heard of. But from what I've seen from him in interviews, he is incredibly articulate. He's very, very honest. He's, warts and all, he admits all of his own shortcomings and things like that. And it was great seeing him discuss the interview that he had with McMahon where Vince was about to crack him. Yeah, that was the one thing that Vince looked like he was completely out of control, and it was spiraling into rage. Speaking of which, the whole bit at the end there about Shane McMahon, I mean, we didn't really get anything from that, but it's interesting to hear them acknowledge the stuff that we've heard reported, I guess, is probably a good way to word that one. And Shane was clearly passionate about the wrestling industry. I can't believe Vince wouldn't... the UFC thing is absolutely stunning, and I can't believe Vince wouldn't, allow him to run his own promotion. I believe the original plan was to relaunch ECW as a WWE.com exclusive program, and it was going to have like blood, and it was going to, didn't have to adhere to any of the television network standards or anything because it was going straight to the website, and Vince was really against it. And then some years later, maybe 4 years later, NXT started on the WWE.com page as an exclusive bit of content there. And I think that pissed Shane off. And, I mean, I don't know if we're going to talk about any of this in the final episode, but I feel so bad for Triple H in this situation because he's been around Vince a long time and he's been around Shawn Michaels for a long time, and he was very good friends with a lot of people that have got very bad reputations, but you never hear anything about Triple H. It feels like he was the designated driver. He doesn't do drugs or drink or party or go out or anything like that. For all purposes, he seems like a pretty boring, low-key kind of guy. Maybe just somebody that's genuinely passionate about pro wrestling, and I'm sure marrying somebody in the wrestling industry was probably on the cards for him anyway, because he's so dedicated to it. And you can see that with the amount of work that he put into NXT when it was the original black and gold brand. And there's like Triple H being given NXT to run. That's definitely a slight to Shane McMahon. Vince McMahon then completely undermining what happens on NXT is a slight to Triple H. Like, everything leads to Vince McMahon in the world of WWE, and that comes with the good and the bad. But let me know in the comments what you thought about this one. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. I've got one episode left, and I'm looking forward to seeing all the shit that we're going to find out in that one as well. Patreon.com/FWCI if you want to support the channel further. And as always, everyone, be well, stay safe, look after your friends. Ta-ta, farewell.